I'm going to read two portions of Scripture for you today and try to relate them later on in the sermon. The first one is from Isaiah chapter 42. And Isaiah says, "Here is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry or lift up his voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a dimly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be crushed until he has established justice in the earth." And the gospel lesson is from Matthew's gospel, the 3rd chapter, beginning at the 13th verse. The story of Jesus' baptism. "Then Jesus came from Galilee to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him, saying, 'I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me?' But Jesus answered him, 'Let it be so now, for it is proper for us in this way to fulfill all righteousness.' Then he consented. And when Jesus had been baptized, just as he came up from the water, suddenly the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting on him. And a voice from heaven said, 'This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased.'" Here ends the gospel lesson. Let's join together in singing the song, "Guide My Feet."
This way.
I think we got to give Earl a raise. Okay, cough it up, and we'll give it to him. They need a little work on the clapping, though. Did you notice that? There's three or four different styles of clapping in gospel music, too, and so we got to learn all of them, because one doesn't always apply. There's a man named August Wilson. Some of you have probably heard his plays, maybe seen his plays, and he wrote a play called Ma Rainey. He's a great modern African-American playwright. And Ma Rainey is about an African-American jazz musicians who are rehearsing in a Chicago recording studio. At one point, they take a break from their rehearsal and they begin to tell stories. And one of them tells a story about a cousin of his, a minister, whose sister in Atlanta was desperately ill. And so he took a train to Atlanta to visit her. The train stopped in a little South Georgia town to take on water, and the minister got off the train to use the bathroom. He went into the station and was told that colored people can't use the bathroom in here, they have to use the outhouse. So he went to the outhouse, and while he was there, the train left the station. There's the minister standing on a South Georgia railroad platform, no train, no friends. And across the tracks, there's a group of hostile-looking young white men. And not wanting trouble, the minister simply starts walking up the railroad track. The group of men follow him. They surround him. They demand to know who he is and what he's doing. He tells them, "I'm a minister." He shows them his Bible. He shows them his cross. He tells them his sister in Atlanta is sick and he's been left by the train. No matter. "Dance for us," they say. "Dance. Why don't you dance for us?" Someone pulls out a pistol and begins to fire at the ground, and they make him dance. Now, the man telling the story says, "Can you imagine that? Can you believe they did that to a man of God?" But one of the other musicians says, "What I can't believe is that if he were a man of God, why did God let them do it to him? If he was God's own man, why didn't God bring down fire from heaven and destroy those crackers? That's what I want to know." The man who wrote this said, "All we want is for God to be God the way we would be God if we were God." Why didn't God? Most of us have felt this question often. It's a persistent question with human beings. Why didn't God act like this? Why didn't God take this away? Why didn't God stop that?